This fall,
I am not giving the city over to Penguin.
Gotham moves to Thursday.
I can make a difference, Alfred. I know I can. Gotham needs more people who are willing to fight for her.
There is time for masks, and there is a time for Bruce Wayne.
I do the dirty work. Allow me to clean this city up.
It's dangerous. You are engaging villains.
I feel more alive than I've ever felt before.
Gotham season premiere Thursday, September 21st on Fox.
How's it going, everybody? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to a brand new Gotham Season 4 video. And today, oh boy, have I got a treat for you. If you haven't already seen this, this is basically blowing up everywhere. Gotham have come out with a new trailer for Gotham Season 4, essentially sort of advertising the new night that they're showing it on, which is Thursdays. But within this trailer, they show so much cool stuff. Essentially, Proto-Batman, full Batman body armor reveal. We get more Ivy, we get more Scarecrow, we get more Riddler, we get more everything, guys. Let's break this down. So in the first shot of the trailer, we see Jim say to Harvey that he's not giving the city over to Penguin. Now this goes perfectly in line with what we've already been teased for with Season 4, in how Jim is going down a much more darker path, crossing more ethical lines than he ever has done before in order to stop the newly empowered Penguin. He will even get help from Don Falcone's daughter, Sophia Falcone. And we even get a couple of shots of a very self-satisfied Penguin sat at his desk, and another one of him which looks like he is talking to some fairly important people. Could it be higher-ups of people in the GCPD? Let me know down in the comments below. Now this is where things start to look very exciting in the trailer. In this clip here we see Alfred, Bruce and Lucius Fox looking down at a case which is loaded with Bruce's new vigilante body armor, which we heard he would be getting in Season 4. Initially from this shot we can just see the boots that he will be wearing as well as the jacket. Now I'm very willing to bet that this is all from Lucius Fox, and it could even be a result of Alfred enlisting his help rather than Bruce requesting it from Lucius Fox. Just before it jumps to the view of the case with the body armor, we can see the three of them stood there before it. Notice how Bruce is getting the very typical Batman after a night out bruising, and I've got a feeling that Alfred really isn't too okay with that, considering some time would have passed since the season picked up of Bruce going out night after night. So I think we won't see this moment until at least a couple of episodes in, as we have yet to see Bruce go out in his trench coat, which we see him in here a few times before he eventually evolves to this body armor. But this isn't the only armor Bruce will be wearing, but I'll get to the mask a little bit later. We can also hear Bruce say that I can make a difference, Alfred. I know I can. Gotham needs more people who are willing to fight for her. If there is one thing that we can take from this, is that Bruce really is taking that extra step into not only taking down criminals, but really believing it in his core too. At the end of last season, we heard Bruce say to Alfred that he doesn't even know who he is, but in this trailer, with these words that he is saying, he is definitely stumbling upon the trail of Batman. Now he will still be far from a fully fledged Batman this season, but I love that not only are we getting him going out there and trying to do more, but that he's found this crusade that he has just started to pick up, and that is to fight for Gotham and to make it better. Also notice how we are getting a prototype mask as well, before we get the actual mask we get to see later in this trailer. I spotted this in my previous breakdown of the San Diego Comic-Con Gotham trailer, and how it seemed different from the mask we all saw at the end of last season, and that's because it's shaped a lot more like a cowl this season, but is still more of a fabric and an identity concealer rather than actual armor. But these are all most likely scenes from before Bruce actually gets the proper body armor from Lucius Fox that we saw earlier. I think the scene we hear from Alfred, which we have heard before also in where he says, there is a time for masks and there is a time for Bruce Wayne. And this is Alfred reminding Bruce that he also has to live as Bruce Wayne, not just 100% Batman mode all of the time. I think we're initially going to see Bruce kind of forget himself as he is discovering this new persona of his and wanting to live in it more or less full time. It will be up to Alfred to pull him back from over that edge, so that Bruce will have to learn to play both Bruce Wayne and, well, not quite Batman yet, but a vigilante in a mask, before the new identity consumes him entirely. If you just look at Bruce's face here too, it kind of explains it all. If there's one thing we know from the comics, is that there is a fine line between Bruce Wayne and even Batman, and most would argue that Bruce Wayne is the mask. and Bruce really deep down is kind of 24/7 Batman. So from this glance we see him giving Alfred, he just wants to get on with things. He's still very young and impatient, but he just needs to learn that there's a time and a place, and it's very, very important for him to also play the role of Bruce Wayne if he realistically wants to continue on with this new persona of his. In the next part of the trailer we get a very, very angry Penguin, most likely tripping on his new power. Now even though the Penguin always rises back up to the top after falling down, he still is and always has been quite an impulsive character on the show, especially with his rage. So this audio that he's saying sounds like it's kind of been edited, so that the beginning of the sentence and the last most likely isn't from the same line. So it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what he's on about, but I trust it all comes down to his new rule over the city that he's establishing. Running the criminal underworld isn't a stress-free job at all. We also get a new look at Scarecrow from the unfortunate eyes of someone who has been dosed with some fear toxin, and oh my god, he looks awesome. I love how he does look like the classical Scarecrow, not straying too different or too far in design, but also adding the obscure effects and fire to it, which truly adds the terrifying element to it. Now what we're looking at here is a few new angles from the fight scene that we see Selina get into from the Comic-Con trailer. I've said it before and I'll say it again, total badass. The way they cut it here too makes it look like Bruce is jumping down to help Selina, where in fact this is actually from a separate scene of Bruce saving a lady from getting mugged, which we all saw from the Comic-Con trailer as well. Now at this point of the trailer we get another visit to Alfred playing his role yet again, just reminding Bruce more or less that I hope you realise what you're doing is pretty out there, and Bruce is just like, I don't really care, I love it. We hear Alfred say, it's dangerous, you're engaging in villains. Now whether this is from the same scene or not, it doesn't make it any less true. We hear Bruce say in the trailer, I feel more alive than I ever have felt before. Now this is another pointer to what I mentioned earlier, in how Bruce is feeling so fulfilled in what he is doing right now, unlike he ever has before in his life. He is discovering a new part of himself that we all know is Batman, and who will ultimately be Bruce's true self one day. So this is the first time Bruce is stumbling across it all, and it's more or less consuming him, I feel, because he's feeling so alive. So it's probably addicting knowing that he's really making a difference out there. So he's just kind of struggling at how he should manage it, and Alfred is kind of just pulling him back from the edge, saying, look, you need to play both sides of the game, not just 100% vigilante mode. Now here we get a very quick glimpse at Ivy, most likely up to no good. Now I know there's a lot of Ivy fans out there who are wanting her storyline to develop more than just being Oswald's shadow. Now I think that time will come, but what we have to remember is that although she is technically a lot older now because of what happened last season when she came into contact with one of Fish Mooney's freaks that accelerated her aging process, it's important to remember that she's still quite a young girl. The reason why she acts so immaturely on the show and still in the security of Oswald's shadow is because she still fully isn't independent yet. And as I said, I'm sure she will be over time, and we will see her take step by step in that direction, but it's also important to not forget that she is still that little Ivy we had in the first couple of seasons, trapped inside an older woman's body, trying to figure things out. We also have our first look at what seemingly appears to be a Riddler out of ice. Now this footage really is obscure, as we still see the iceberg behind Riddler in the shot. Also the way the camera is shooting this scene, it looks though it's from somebody's perspective. There is also a bit of a wobble on screen, so this means that they're showing like an effect is happening. So it could be Riddler escaping, and this could be Penguin looking at him as he's losing conscious or something like that. Or it would also be very cool if this was Penguin's fear coming out from the fear toxin. Now I don't necessarily believe that is what's happening at all, as I don't think that Scarecrow is going to bounce between every single character on the show, but this scene with Riddler is quite suspicious, and I suspect that there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Now lastly guys, we see the mask of Bruce's body armor, as well as his gloves, which complete the set of what we saw earlier with Bruce, Alfred and Lucius looking over the body armor in the case. Now my initial reaction to this is I'm not so sure how I should feel about this. I don't know whether to think this is really cool or way too soon and really bad. Now, what I've settled upon is that it is actually pretty darn cool. I think what everyone initially is feeling a bit with this whole rush to vigilantism that Bruce did at the end of last season is, wow, is this going to be a little bit too soon? Especially when John Stevens said at Comic-Con that he will be getting body armor, he will have a mask, he will have grappling hooks, and I was like, oh god, man, they're going to go too far. But I think the way they're approaching it and the way this body armor looks is that it's not fully over the top. It makes sense for Bruce to have more than just a trench coat and a turtleneck covering his mouth and a little bit of fabric. Now he's actually getting a bit of initial body armor from LUCIUS FOX. He's actually basically got the cowl but without the bat ears. So I really like the whole Nolan look to this Batman mask. It definitely has more of a Nolan vibe than any of the other films. I believe I said something like this in my previous trailer breakdown as well, or in one of my previous Gotham Season 4 videos, in how Bruce will most likely get the mask but just without the bat ears, so it kind of makes sense as to how one day, over a long period of time from, for example, now on the show in Season 4, he will evolve his body armor more and more and more until one day he will basically have the full set with the cape, the ears, you name it, and the symbol on his chest. I do think that Bruce will be in his trench coat and the other kind of fabric-y mask for an episode or two, or maybe a few more, and then he'll get, after being spoken to by Alfred about coming back with bruises, you name it, Alfred will most likely approach Lucius, and Lucius will hook Bruce up, and then they'll come to Bruce and be like, look, you're going out there, we can't change your mind, you seem pretty adamant about this, but we want to support you, so here's a lot better body armor than what you're bloody wearing now. It's also interesting to note as well that they haven't applied the magic makeup filter that happens when you put a superhero mask on your face. So notice here how Bruce hasn't got the eyeliner on. I'm not sure if they're going to do that. Midway in the season they might change their mind and be like, wait, it would be kind of cool if he wore some black paint under there. But maybe at the same time, I'm thinking if they add the black paint under there, even without the ears, he will look extremely, extremely Batman-like. But either way, guys, this is so awesome. But apart from that, everybody, that is all I've got to say about this trailer breakdown. Let me know what you thought of each part of this trailer in the comments below, but I guess most importantly, let me know what you're most excited about seeing from what you saw in this amazing trailer in the comments section down below. Now, if you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you did leave a like on it, as it really does show your support for the channel, and maybe even consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Gotham Season 4 related. Now, if you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the bell button to join the notification squad to make sure you never miss out on a Gotham Season 4 video. But other than that, everybody, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.